Hi, so my life is kind of falling apart, so I thought to distract myself, I would run some Muse songs. I got this idea from Ellie Fuzz, who did all of Coldplay songs, and it's a really, really amazing and ambitious video that you should all go watch. But I cannot commit to such a big project right now, so instead of doing all of them all at once, I will be just going album by album starting by Showbiz, starting with, sorry, Showbiz. And I will just uh, go over all of the songs, starting from my least favorite of the album and going to my favorite. And I will just say a couple of words about each song. Starting with Hate This and I'll Love You. I'm gonna be honest, I never ever listened to this. I would only listen to it in the context of the album, but sometimes, when you start an album and something is like the last song or one of the last songs in there, you will have turned it off before it gets there. So I literally never listened to this. Number 12, Spiral Static. I also barely ever listen to this. However, I do appreciate that it's way more dynamic than Hate This and I Love You. And I appreciate even just by the intro, which is just the two chords, right? But I appreciate the feel that it instantly creates. I think it's a very it just takes you there instantly, and I really appreciate that. I appreciate that dynamic, and I think that with a little bit more work, it could have made it onto the main album and be one of the really good ones. Number 11, Falling Down. I think this could be an unpopular placement for this. I think among like Muse fans, this is more appreciated. Um, I do like, the bluesy, clean guitar and the experimentation with that kind of style. And it's very catchy, of course. I just don't think it fits Muse's style all that well. I think it was a good, one-off song, and I think, sometimes they get more bluesy and more like that in certain songs, but still manage to incorporate it into their style more. But of course, this is during a stage where they were figuring out their style. So I'm not gonna, this is just a really fun experiment, and the result is pretty good. I really like the placement in the album. Like when the first four songs play, I just love listening to this within the context of the album. It's just on its own, not a very it's not very successful at being a Muse song, if you know what I mean. It's still very good though. Number 10, Overdue. So this one, I was conflicted between putting it at number 10 or number 9 because it was, to me, head to head with the one that I placed on number 9. And the reason this one got placed on number 10 is because the lyrical content was a little bit less, interesting to me. I generally never ever tend to focus on lyrics. I don't care what a song is about. Let me just preface by saying this, but when two songs are basically head in head, and it's like we're splitting hairs here, I'm also gonna get into the lyrics a little bit and just grab anything that will help me, grab onto anything that would help me decide. So this one is a little lower because of the lyrical content, which is a little bit, a little bit superficial and weird. And I'm glad that they removed some of the lyrics from the initial recording from the EP. Very glad that they removed those. But the chorus is so much fun to listen to, and I really also like the intro with all the distortions. It's very fun. Then on number 9, which was very close, is Sober, and it has a very similar exciting dynamic. And I really like, the pre-chorus, of course, that leads into the chorus with like the scale thing, and it's very fun and dynamic. And Sober and Overdue for me were neck and neck, but it was the lyrics that were a little bit better on Sober. So that kind of gave it that extra oomph that it needed to go on number 9. I used to really like the song as a teenager, sober. I bopped my head to it a lot. It's very fun. Number 8, Escape. Escape is a song that I appreciated more as an adult. Because, when I first heard it as a teenager, I was like, oh, a slow song, and it gets a little more dynamic, towards the chorus and later, but it's not something like very high energy. But I really, really appreciate the lyrics on this, and I appreciate the vocal performance, and I appreciate how personal it is. Muse rarely does songs that are really personal. Matt doesn't really write songs that are about his life, and this is an exception to this, and I appreciate it, and I can hear it in the vocal performance when you watch like live videos from like 1999 or something. It's just very impressive, and I really appreciate this now. um yeah. Number 7, Philippe. um this is very fun, and this is a banger to put as a third song on the album. I think it just, the first 4 songs just flow so perfectly. um it's, I don't know, I don't have a lot of things to say about this song. A lot of fun, dynamic. I seriously have nothing to say. It's just a good song. um then on number 6, I have Cave. um I think this was also in the original EP, if I remember correctly. Yeah, very fun. The verses have this really fun, catchy melody that kind of borders on annoying, but it never gets annoying to me. And yeah, I just love the chorus. I think in general, a thing that I love about this album is I love the how raw some of the recording is, and the distortion on the guitars. Like, it creates a perfect atmosphere, and I think it just fits the sound perfectly. And um, the chorus of Cave is a good example of this. Like, it's, if you strip it down, it's not something really impressive, but the effects and the distortion and the production really, really carry it, and it makes for a beautiful result, I think. Number 5, Uno. I think what I love the most about this song is the rhythm and the bass, like the, even like in the initial like intro, like the I just, and then when the bass comes in, it's just like nasty. It's like really good. And the whole like Spanish guitar influence, like it just really works. It really works for what it is. And I like how passionate Matt delivers the vocals during the chorus. uh I kind of miss when his vocals, I mean, maybe it was not sustainable, but I just miss the sound of the vocals being more passionate and less perfect and less processed and less edited, and more raw and more flawed, more imperfect. I think this really fits the chorus. It's just a very interesting tune, and it just works. It really works. And this is like, for me, a good example of kind of a different style of music, or a different influence that's being very well integrated and incorporated into Muse's style. Whereas with like Falling Down, I feel it's less successful as a Muse song. Whereas this is very much Muse, but just has this little outside influence that just pushes it over the edge and makes it a lot interesting. Number 4 is Unintended. And I think it's all about the melody in this one. And if I were to objectively rank them as to how interesting they are, maybe This would not make it so far up, but just have to admit it to myself. It's one I keep going back to and listening to and playing on the ukulele, on the guitar, especially the guitar, because that's what it was made for, like the acoustic. I think the melody really carries this song. And of course, Matt's vocals. Um, it's obviously less chaotic, more stripped down, more acoustic, and it's all about the vocal performance. And the melodies are really successful, so this is why this is number four. Number three, Sunburn. This was initially my favorite song of the album. Um, it's just that piano is, ugh, it's so good. That piano, so good, and the piano solo, um, is just beautifully crafted, and the incorporation of the piano into this rock song it's very successful. And my favorite thing about this is, that a couple of live performances. There's one specific one that pops in my head where right before the last chorus, Matt just like smashes the piano, and it just whenever he does that, it just gets chills. It's so good. Like for example, also in studio versions, like right before the chorus of Dark Shines, where it just smashes the piano, it just gives me chills all the time. And I really love this song. It's really good. Number two is Muscle Museum, which, if you told this to my teenage self, she would be very surprised. I initially didn't like this song. And I remember when I first got into Showbiz, I was like, I knew some songs already that were considered to be very popular. And I remember Muscle Museum was one of the fans' favorite songs at the time. And I was like, why though? It's not good. I think the bass was throwing me off a lot, as it does a lot of people during their first listen. And I think I also initially, I found the chorus to be boring. I didn't like the melody. I think na 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 na. I don't know what it is that I found boring. I didn't think the chorus was memorable enough, and during the verses, the bass was throwing me off a lot. But now, of course, you can tell by the ranking, I very much appreciate every element to this. And the bass I consider to be iconic. I was playing it the other day. I play it all the time. I love singing Matt's vocals along with playing the bass. I think it's so much fun, and the dynamic is like, I think it's supposed to be throwing you off. I think a lot of people were thrown off by the bass sound, and how forward it was, and the tempo. There was something about it. Um, I'm not really good with musical theory, so I cannot tell you exactly what it is, but it just throws you off. And for me, it was a slow burn. Like nowadays, I love Muscle Museum. But yeah, it's a really good song, obviously. And then number one, can you guess which one it is from the album Showbiz? The only song I haven't mentioned is, of course, Showbiz. This to me is a just masterclass in creating a dynamic. This is like the definition of a slow burn, but not in the way that Muscle Museum, because by Muscle Museum being a slow burn, what I meant was it took several listens for me to get into it. Showbiz is a slow burn in terms of just experiencing the journey throughout the song from the beginning to end. This is like a full journey. It sounds very ominous in the beginning. It begins like very dark with this kind of tribal drum pattern, and of course the bass. And I just love how it builds up to this insane chaotic dynamic towards the end. And by the way, I forgot about Muscle Museum. I forgot to mention the Matt like doing the guitar solo with his mouth. How did I forget about this? This is like the best part about it. Anyway, But going back to Showbiz, sorry, I have the ADHD, so I just have to interfere with myself because this is not scripted. But I love how Showbiz gradually builds up to more and more chaotic energy, and the vocals also get more like raw, and um, you can hear like some voice cracks and like a lot of passion as it goes along. Whereas in the beginning, it's like very dark and ominous and harsh, and obviously low vocals. Um, and yeah, it just builds up into this explosion of energy, and just the minor chords of it all just makes it more ominous and more dark, and it just feels like um, somebody trying really hard to escape this predicament of what the song is about. um of course, the vocals at the end, iconic. I cannot count how many times I've tried to scream those last vocals during karaoke unsuccessfully. If I had a dime, if I had a dime every time I tried this, I would be rich. Honestly, I've screamed to Showbiz so many times. It's just such a good song. Um, yeah, so this was my ranking on, Muse's first studio album. Um, Maybe I'll do more, maybe I won't, but I hope you liked it. I would love to hear your opinions as long as they're respectful. There cannot be right and wrong in this. It's all subjective, so I'd love to hear your top, not, I mean, not top 13, it's 13 songs, but I would love to hear your ranking, and have a discussion like about like if something that I place low you place really high, what is it about it that you like, or vice versa, something that I place high. For example, I know Sunburn. I, I think not a lot of people love this anymore. I'm not sure. I think if I can predict, I would say Falling Down would probably be higher on a lot of people's lists. Um, yeah, but Unintended and Muscle Museum and Showbiz, I think they would be up there for most people. But I would be very interested to hear about your ranking. And also, is there any songs that you have um, kind of gained new appreciation for as the years have gone by? Because for me, I think Escape is one of the songs that I almost put as low as Hate This and I Love You. Like, I didn't care for it when I was a teenager, and nowadays I really really love and appreciate the song Escape. So is there anything that you have changed your mind on over the years? I would also love to know that. Yeah, thanks for watching, and maybe I'll do another one of those. Yeah, see ya.